Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting of August 8th, 2017. This is the 6 p.m. special City Council meeting. Please note that all council members are present. With that, I'm going to turn the time over to Vice Chair Heyer to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, thank you, Chair White. Tonight we've asked Councilmember Garner if he would lead us in the pledge, and so we'll turn the time to him.
Thank you. It's my honor. Would everyone please rise and then repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Please take a moment of silence with me. Thank you very much. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize that we don't have this many people in the chambers very often, and it looks like we have some exchange students, if I'm not mistaken. And Charles, is that correct? If you'd come up, I apologize, I didn't catch your last name, but please come up.
Elzinga.
Elzinga.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for these students, 13 students from Inner Mongolian University for the nationalities in the northern province of China to be here. They're studying American culture, and we felt that coming to a chamber meeting was a great example of American democracy and culture. So they'll be here for the first hour of your meeting, and we'd like them to stand and be recognized. Very welcome to have them here.
Well, welcome here. You picked a fun one. A lot of budget stuff.
Thank you.
So welcome here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a common consent item. This is regarding the fiscal year 2018 budget amendment for the Union Station operating budget. And we are, go ahead.
Chair White, I would make a motion that we adopt the common consent agenda, item A.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Nadolski to adopt this proposed ordinance for setting the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That will be set for August 22nd. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. First one is closed executive session of January 3rd, 2017. Councilmember Blair.
Yes, thank you, Chair White. I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
The closed executive session of February 14th, 2017. Councilmember Garner.
Thank you, Chair White. I've reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
The joint work session of May 16th, 2017. Councilmember Lopez.
Yes, Chair White, I reviewed all 16 pages of the minutes and found them to be accurate to the best of my recollection.
And the work session of May 30th, 2017. Councilmember Nadolski.
Thank you, Chair White. I've reviewed those minutes, found them to be accurate, and I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nadolski, second by Councilmember Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We thank you, Councilmember Lopez. Next on up on our agenda is public hearings, and it's regarding the fiscal year 2018 budget. And Ms. Eller-Smith, please come forward.
So it's deja vu all over again. We've been working on the budget for several weeks now, and I'd just like to start with a review of the process that you've gone through. On May 2nd, you accepted for review the budget. It was presented by the mayor. And on May 16th, you set the public hearing. And then we had several work sessions. And on June 6th, you took action and adopted the tentative budget. And that same night, you also adopted the RDA and the MBA budgets. We've had two other continuations of the public hearing on June 20th and then again on July 11th with an intermittent work session on June 27th. On August 1st, we had your very first Facebook Live event, which I think was pretty successful. And the point of going over this review process is hopefully citizens recognize that there's been a real attempt to try and get this information out there and give them plenty of opportunities to comment before you take final action on the budget tonight. You do have two actions, actually, that you were considering tonight. One is adopting the final budget, but also setting the tax rate, which is part of this final ordinance. With regard to the final budget, I've just put the general fund up there along with the total city budget. There's only one minor change from the tentative budget that was adopted on June 6th, and that is a $500,000 change to the CIP to fund some seating at Pioneer Stadium. So that brings the total final budget up to $165,437,550. One thing that we always evaluate when the mayor brings his budget every year is to see if it aligns with the council priorities. Because we spent some time on this, I won't talk a lot about it during this presentation, but just confirm that you as a council were very satisfied with the budget and how it promoted your priorities in promoting active and healthy living, fostering neighborhoods and community building, enhancing community outreach, and also cultivating arts and culture. These are all, and of course, probably most importantly, is supporting public safety and other essential services, which is one of the reasons why you're considering maintaining the tax rate, which by state law is considered a tax increase, to ensure that those essential services and public safety services are provided at appropriate levels. So, truth in taxation. This is what we call this public hearing. Anytime the council is considering a tax increase, we're required to hold public hearings to do that. You have a couple of options available to you tonight, and actually several, but the ones that we've been discussing. The certified tax rate was established by the State Tax Commission at 0.002895, which is lower than the current rate of 0.003103. So you can pick either one of those numbers or any number in between to set that final rate, understanding that the number you pick will have impact on the revenues that the city can collect. So I wanted to do once again a refresher course on what the certified tax rate does. It's because we know it's kind of complicated. So the tax rate, certified tax rate, is designed for revenue neutrality. That means it gives the city the same amount of revenue that we had in the prior year, and then we are allowed to get any new growth on top of that. So I know that nobody can read these numbers, but I wanted to put up this sheet. It's a screenshot from the state website, which shows all of the numbers that they calculate to determine the certified tax rate. And those key numbers involve the total property values for the city, which this year are almost $4 billion. They make adjustments for centrally assessed property, and that's properties that are located in the city but that belong to companies or utilities that do work across the state. And so those are all assessed at the state level to ensure some uniformity for those those companies and the way those assessments are handled. Then they calculate the new growth that's happened, and so that depends on any new development that's happened. So it sort of differentiates between any increases in value to existing properties as opposed to new properties that have come on during the tax year. They make adjustments for the collection rate, which is about 95%, and any Board of Equalization adjustments. So if property owners request and are granted adjustments from the Board of Equalization. And the very bottom line that you can see across that kind of highlights, in 2016, the city received $10.4 million. And in 2017, we're going to be receiving $10.4 million plus $577,000 in new growth if you just adopted the certified tax rate. Of course, the proposal is to maintain the current rate. So this is sort of the picture version of what I just talked through, to go through that and that complicated rate to get to that complicated formula to get to the certified tax rate. We know from history that because of the way the certified tax rate is calculated, if property values go up, the certified tax rate is going to go down to ensure that the city just receives the same amount of property tax that it received the prior year. And the problem with that is that there's no built-in mechanism to adjust for inflation. And so you can see from this graph that from the year 2000, there's been a relatively steady decline in that certified tax rate because until 2016, the city had not had a tax increase in 30 years. But you will note that even between 2015 and 2016, the tax rate went down, and that's because there was a bond that paid off, and the council voted not to acquire all of the funds that bond paid off. So you didn't quite adjust it up to the existing rate in 2015. I always laugh when I see this. It says, inflation silently robbing you of your purchasing power since 1913. We all have experienced this. We know in our personal budgets that what we could buy for our $20 in 1998 doesn't go nearly as far in 2014 and currently 2017. So I wanted to prove to myself that all of these things that I was learning about the certified tax rate was true. So I went back through the budget. The city recorders were kind enough to pull out a hard copy of the 1998 budget. And I learned that in 1998, the city had property taxes of $8.7 million. If you do a present value, in other words, if you adjust that number for inflation, that would mean if we had just the same amount of money that we received in 1998, it would be $12.8 million. In the tentative budget, there is $11.364 million. So that's $1.4 million less than real dollars in 1998. So you wonder, well, how have we able to keep up our services at the rate that we've been able to? And part of that goes to some great management by the administration. But you can also see that we have had some increase in sales tax over that 20-year period, and a lot, even much bigger increase in franchise tax, which are also taxes on telephones and cellular phones and those kinds of things. So the current rate that the council adopted in 2016 was 003103. The certified tax rate came in from the state at 002895. The 7.2% increase is an increase in the rate. It's not a 7.2 increase to the total property tax bill. And I think that's what is frustrating for us as policy wonks that have to talk about it, because it's not necessarily how we think about it in our everyday lives. You know, when you hear we're going to have increase your tax, have a tax increase of 7.2%, you automatically think, well, you know how much you pay on your total property bill, that's how much it's going to change. So I wanted to just review briefly. This is the actual notice of property tax increase that we are required to post in the paper. And the state law is very specific about the information that has to be included. In fact, it outlines word per word. We're just allowed to insert numbers. It even outlines the font that you have to use, the size of the font, and the width of the border. So that's how specific the state law is. So the first one, if it says, Ogden City is proposing to increase its property tax revenue. If the proposed budget is approved, Ogden City would increase its property tax budgeted revenue by 7.2% above the prior year's property tax budgeted revenue, excluding new growth. So that statement is true, and it's pretty clear. It's the second line that I think is kind of misleading. It says Ogden City tax on $167,000 resident, which is the value of the average resident in Ogden City, would increase from $265 to $285, which is $19 per year. So we are just talking about prior years, exceeding revenue over the prior years. So I think it's logical to assume, well, that $19, if I paid $265 last year, I'm going to pay $285 this year. And that's what's misleading, because it's not really accurate. And so I wasn't very good at explaining this the last time I tried, so I decided to try it a different way. So I actually picked somebody in the audience that I knew would be here tonight, and I took a look at their property. And just so you know, it's all public information, so there wasn't anything inappropriate that I did. And I pulled up this person's property and started to just kind of evaluate it. And it actually worked, was pretty interesting to me, and I think it will help me make some of the points that I think are important for citizens to understand. So in 1998, the taxable value, and that's taxable value, it's not market value, of this person's property was almost $50,000. And you can see the combined rate for all of the taxing entities that this person pays taxes to, and the combined rate that they actually paid, and then Ogden City's rate at the time. So they paid Ogden City tax of $245 in 1998. Well, in 2016, their property was worth $71,000 in taxable value, an increase of $21,000, which is 42% increase in value. If you look at the combined rate, though, the combined tax only went up 25%. So why do you think it went up only 25%? It's because, as we talked about, when the property tax values go up, the rates go down unless something else happens. So what else could have happened? Well, we know some new taxes came on board. There's a 911 district that wasn't there before. We know that the school district has had some tax increases in the last few years. There was a library bond that got added. So all those things have added up to increase the taxes. But I want you to look at Ogden City's tax. In 1998, they paid $245. In 2016, they paid $220. They actually paid less almost 20 years later. And that's because Ogden City had not raised the taxes. So let's go a little bit more in depth. This is where it gets kind of spooky, but it also helps me make my point. So on this chart, the first row is, I just put 2016, so you have it there for comparisons. 2017, that's in blue italics, I put it there to just show the impact if there had been no change in valuation. And then in 2017, in the black, the third row, shows what would happen if the City Council just adopted the certified tax rate and then in red is what is proposed to maintain the current rate. So the first thing you notice is this person's property. Remember, it went up 40% in the previous 18 years, and now it's gone up 30% over last year alone. So I wanted to just address that because I know last year at our Truth in Taxation hearing, a lot of the concerns we had expressed from citizens was about this increase in value on their property. And I just wanted to make it clear that while we are all taxpayers in this room, we can certainly sympathize with that happening to your property. The city really doesn't have any control. It's the county assessor that assesses your property, and if you have issues with the valuation of your property, that needs to go to the county assessor. And you should have received your tax notices by now, and it did outline for you an appeal deadline of September 15th, and I'm sure it has directions on the tax notice, or you can go to the website to have some discussions with the county about the valuation of your property. So let's go to the third row on here to show what happens if the city does not just accepts the certified tax rate that was given to us by the state. You can see that there has been an increase in the Ogden City taxes, even though there's been a decrease in the rate of the certified tax rate. So why is that? Part of it, well, all of it, is due to that increase in taxable value. And it's, you have to remember that that taxable value is calculated to the city as a whole. And so it's probably it will impact individual property tax payers differently. All of your taxes are going up in Ogden, and that's because there are some new state taxes. I live in Davis County. I had the state one. There's a state charter school tax. You didn't notice that. Last year, for the current year, Weber County, did a tax increase, and the Ogden School District also did a slight tax increase. So those are all the things that impact that increase in taxes on the combined rate. For Ogden City, you will notice that between the certified tax rate of 002895 and the proposed tax rate of 003103, that is the difference of $19.33, and that is the 7.2% that we talk about when we talk about this increase. So hopefully that's a little clearer. I feel sorry for the person that has the 30% value increase, but I suspect it's all coming because what the county does is divide the city up into sections. And if you didn't get it last year, I know some of you got it last year, and you didn't get it this year, it will still be coming for you, I'm sure. Are there any questions about that? Okay. One of the biggest questions that we get from citizens is, well, why can't you just be more efficient in the way you handle your money? Isn't there some place that you can cut in the budget that would require you, that would let you forego this tax increase? And I think what's happened is that's exactly what the city's been doing for the past 30 years, is trying to find ways that they can cut the budget. And I'll demonstrate how that's happened in just a minute. But I want citizens to think about if they buy a new car, and it's great, they don't have to do maintenance for the first year or two, except maybe a little bit of change the oil here and there. But if you don't do the regular maintenance, after a few years, things start to break down. And then it costs you more money in the long run to repair that car. And that's kind of where the city is in right now after 30 years, is we've deferred maintenance on roads and streets and buildings for so long that it just can't be deferred any longer. So I just wanted to remind you again that the city is operating on less property tax revenue now than it did in 1998. And we've luckily, we've been able to offset some of that loss with additional sales tax and additional franchise tax. The city actually has fewer employees per capita now than it did in 1998. We have 43 more employees, but 37 of those are police officers. So you can see that the city's been putting its money in its most important place, in that public safety. We have shifted the revenue sources a bit for the total. We're relying more heavily on franchise and other revenues rather than property tax. And then, of course, as we've reviewed before, the administration's done everything it can to do cost savings. We bring engineering services in-house. We've done saw cutting, which is much more cheaper than a concrete replacement. We're using our fire staffing in a unique way that saves us a lot of money. We do training in-house now, which now can reduce travel costs that otherwise would have been incurred. The police are starting an online citizens crime reporting where that will save time and resources if we can get them to report online, and so that police officers aren't making those reports out in the field. And of course, we partner whenever we can with other local agencies to share resources. And then most important is just recently, in this last year, they put in the new Enterprise Resource Program, which is a new financial computer program, which will help us be able to pull information from the data that we're collecting in a way that we can identify even more areas for future savings. Not only do we have cost-saving efforts, but we also are working at providing additional revenues, which is really important. So CED's done a great job of bringing new companies to the city, and with those new companies come the sales tax that is so important. Business Depot Ogden is doing great and is a real lifesaver for the city and the lease revenues that we receive from there. The new air service will bring additional sales tax and tourism dollars to the city. So that's my presentation tonight. I just wanted to, is there any questions about the presentation before I? Okay. I just wanted to review for you the process now. You will be accepting public input in this public hearing from any citizens that like to speak. Then you will close the public hearing. As you know, we've continued it for the last 2 meetings. And then you will need to make a motion to amend the ordinance that's before you to include the tax rate that you would like to set for the upcoming year. And then once you've made that motion and second and adopted that motion, then you'll do a motion to adopt the ordinance as amended. If there's no more questions?
Thank you. That was really great. Any questions before she leaves?
No, just a huge thank you. I mean, as you showed in your presentation, how many work sessions we've had and public hearings, and the time you personally have taken to answer our questions and be there for us, we greatly appreciate it.
This is one of the major components of our responsibility, is to look at this budget. And the thing I like about it is that we're going through and securing our purchasing power so that we can provide the services to the citizens of Ogden. And I think that's necessary in that aspect.
How many additional public hearings did we have over previous budget years?
Well, we had 2 more public hearings, and then we did 2 Facebook events, which were totally new, and we thank our millennial staff for even telling us what those are. So that I think that they were very effective, and we know that we got a lot more people than usually come to council meetings to at least see a part or some of that information.
All right. Thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, and so this is an opportunity for anyone to come up and address any of the budget items or budget issues. If you have any comments or issues or questions, please come up and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. So please come up to the podium, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes to address.
Hello to all of you. My name is Rafael Hernandez, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if I will be able to explain my problem, but I will try it. I have been a resident since 1975 in Weaver County, and I do have 2 properties, 2635 Liberty and 2633 Liberty Rare. I never have any problems with my taxes properties till the last couple of years ago. 2633 Liberty Rare is a piece of land that's behind 2633, 2635, and 2637. There's a driveway that goes through on the back of the 3 properties on the back. The property, I use the property for parking. I use the property for, there's a little house, 20 by 24, that has been there since I bought a 2633 front, Liberty front. I sold that, so I kept the back property for reasons because the deal was not made. And now I feel really concerned about the property because the city increased the value of the property to $50,000. $50,000, that's $468 on taxes for me. I'm a medical retirement, and I won't be able to pay that amount for that property. I don't think it worth $50,000. I have been taxed for $25,000. I tried to fight this last year, but the person that I spoke with, they told me that if somebody was living there, I said yes, my son was living there. Now my son purchased a new house. He bought his house. He's going to leave. Nobody's going to be living there. So that piece of land is going to be just the same it has been, empty with a little house, a carport, a shed where I keep some of my stuff. That's it. If the city thinks that this property worth $50,000, I would like to cash it out, and I can use the money towards something else. The property is not attached to the street, which doesn't have the benefits, or the pave, which doesn't have the benefits of the sidewalk. So it's just a piece of land on the back of these 3 properties, and I don't really believe it worth that much. It will be nice, but I don't think it does. So I would like to get in kind of help, information, see how can we deal this. I mean, be fair. And if that's the way it's going to be, definitely I need to cash it back out.
So I just real quick want to address that the property values are set by Weber County Assessor, and we can get you that number, or we can have somebody get you that number to identify if that's the correct value. So you can call the Weber County Assessor. It's not a city function.
There is an appeal process. I'm not sure if that's expired at this point yet or
Right,
not.
September
15th, I think. is the-
15th? You have until September 15th to work with the county assessor to ask about that property value. And on your property statement right there, it actually gives you the phone number for that
It's on
person.
the back. I didn't know who to speak with, but I hear her, she's talking about the county assessor, about the property value.
Yeah, that's where your remedy would be found, is with the county.
So this is the person that I need to speak with?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
They determine the value at 50,000, so you would talk to them.
okay. Well, thank you very much.
Rafa,
That's all I
Rafa,
need to
¿sí,
hear.
sí entiendes la diferencia entre la ciudad y el condado?
No,
No, ok, entonces yo vengo a hablar contigo al ratito, o déjame su teléfono con ella, por favor, y yo te hablo por teléfono para guiarte un poquito más, ¿ok?
okay.
¿Está bien?
Sí, está bien.
Gracias,
Muchísimas
Rafa.
gracias.
Gracias. Sí.
Thank you.
Chair, I have that phone number for him if he would
Okay.
like it.
Brittany, if you don't mind taking his number, his contact information,
And
and
then-
I'm also going to get in touch with him afterwards.
And then, do you have the phone number?
Here.
Or-
All right.
Go ahead.
Are you ready? It's 801-399-8255. 8400, and that's the Weber County Clerk Auditor's Office for Board of Equalization. Say that really fast, 50 times.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other?
My name is Lisa Beck, and I want to thank you because that was very educational for me. I know that Weber County is the one that sets my tax rate, but just over a year ago, I was here because Ogden City wanted to blight my house with eminent domain. So I don't understand how the taxes can be raised on that. I know they can. I just don't. It's really odd to me. They dropped it. You guys dropped it, but you said my house should be condemned, and it shouldn't. It's livable. And now they want to raise my taxes. And I know I have to go to Weber County.
Okay.
I just needed to come up here and tell you that's wrong. It's wrong. And thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, and again, the value of your home, and so, thank you for, yeah, I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Does someone needs to clarify, Chair White, to her that the taxes that we're asking about increasing tonight, it is coming from us, from Ogden City, yet the values, the home valuation is from the county. I don't know if, okay. Okay, all right. Just.
I think that's changed, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
Because there was so much, so many people coming.
Yeah.
Were disapproving of it. Hasn't helped yet.
So, yeah, let's just keep on the budget, if that's okay. Thank you. I'll interject there, so thank you, I appreciate that. Any other comments? There's a lot of you in the,
Going. Now's your chance. Well, Chair White, seeing no movement, I will make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
we have a motion to close the public hearing by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Just a real quick comment before we move on. Thank you very much for all your comments. I appreciate that.
Okay, I will make a motion then that we make an amendment to the Section 2 of our budget, ordinance 2017-29, to include the tax rate of 0.003103 as the tax rate that would be applicable for the coming fiscal year.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Garner, to amend the ordinance to include the new tax rate of 0.0033103. I'm assuming this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye, that passes.
And I'll also make a motion that we adopt the amended ordinance 2017-29.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Nadolski, to adopt the proposed ordinance 2017-29 with the rate of .00310. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hire,
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes.
Okay, now administration can get working on FY19.
We've already started.
And we mentioned this, but thank you, not just to Janine, but the entire staff and everyone who has taken the time to help us over the last 3 months really start to understand the budget. And we've spent many, many hours asking a lot of questions so that we understood and that we could represent you well. So thank you.
It's also been nice to be able to receive these comments through social media and to be able to address them through social media. That has been refreshing. And to have a budget where we've got more than 3 people in the audience is very refreshing. So thank you, Chinese students, for visiting at least. So,
Yeah, I want to echo that also, that the comments we receive are listened to, and they're very important to us in formulating this budget to operate the city and provide the services, I think. So I thank you for coming and voicing your concerns.
Right. Any other comments? Right. Moving on then. Next on our agenda items is reports from administration, oh my gosh.
synchrony line of credit renewal.
Yes, that too. Thank you.
Ward Ogden will be
Of credit
presenting.
renewal. Synchrony. Who's coming forward?
Ward.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Ward. Mr. Ogden. Thank you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Chair and members of the council, this item is in relation to a line of credit that we have with Synchrony Bank, and we've had that line of credit for 6 years now. It's in the amount of $1.4 million, secured by a $350,000 deposit that we have in an account that's controlled through an agreement, and that is at Zions Bank. Just a brief history on what we've done with Synchrony Bank over the past 6 years. We've done 85 projects, and we've been able to make use of $7.2 million of this, so we've rotated that line of credit. So what happens is we borrow the money for each individual housing rehab project or new home that we build, and we use that money for on average between 3 and 6 months, and then we repay it through the proceeds of the sale. So it's a very advantageous product for us to use. It's a low interest rate, on average at or below 3%. I think it's a little above 3% now, but a very good rate. And Synchrony Bank is very good to work with, and very appreciative of the opportunity to invest in Ogden. It's a Community Reinvestment Act investment on their side, so that is why they can offer such a low interest rate. We renew this every 2 years, if you agree. And so it's the line of credit is now expiring, and they're recommending that we enter into this amendment to the loan agreement and for another 2 years. So the resolution before you is to amend the loan agreement to extend it another 2 years, and the terms remain the same. So are there any questions?
So we just keep rolling it over. So somebody, we deplete it, we get money in, the revenue, it just keeps
That's right.
rolling over.
And it's done on a specific home basis. So we draw down funds for a home. On average, a renovation drawdown would be maybe $60,000 that we borrow for the renovation cost. And then when we sell the home in a few months, we recover the funds on the sale of the home and we pay back Synchrony. So we just keep rotating the money. It's a very helpful thing for us to use.
Chair White, I think it's probably prudent to mention, this did come up in our work session, that this is not a line of credit that is just creeping up. It's always paid down to zero, and it's being used very wisely. So
yes,
I think that needs to be on the record.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ogden? All right. Thank you. Motion, please.
And seeing no other questions, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2017-15.
I second it.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner, second by Councilmember Stevens, to adopt proposed resolution 2017-15. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye, that passes. All right, we're moving through a lot of budget stuff tonight. The next on our agenda item is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding any concerns or ideas. Please come up and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Christopher Buckle. I moved here from Portland, Oregon in 2012, and I've been volunteering at Ogden Union Station, working on the diesel locomotive and the campus around there. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the rail preservation community about the future of Union Station. I came to the work session earlier today, and I'm excited that there's some potential development that's going on down at Union Station. I've got no problem with that. I'm here to look ahead for the rail equipment, the collection that's down there. The one with the broken windows and the fecal matter sitting on the steps. I helped clean those up over the year while I was down there. I helped pick up, pieces of broken, whatever that's broken down there, secure the doors so people don't camp inside the vacant rail cars. And I look ahead 10, 20 years, what's going to happen to that collection? There's nothing that being said about what are we doing to preserve and honor the companies that have been here for 150 plus years. If Walmart were a company that was here for 150 plus years, you honor them, you do something for them. Union Pacific and the other railroad, Southern Pacific, and they all merged, have been here, and they created the city, and nothing is being done to honor them. If the rail collection honors them, taking a piece of old railroad equipment just like the space shuttle that have been preserved, or the old tall ship with the mast and the locomotive show honor for the companies that helped build Ogden, and they deserve proper restoration and treatment in the future. So I have been participating at Utah State Railroad Museum Authority, which is a state-created authority, and they have funded it $100,000. And they've given it broad powers to acquire property and facilitate an actual train museum. Because down at Ogden, the campus today, that's not a functioning train museum. Has to have moving trains that people are willing to pay to ride on. People don't want to pay to look at broken windows and all that. So Ogden needs to consider the future of the train locomotive, whether it's through the Utah State Railroad Museum Authority or some other venture. The state authority is ideal to consider. Why should Ogden pay for the restoration of the locomotives that are down there when Layton or Salt Lake City or Provo are not contributing to the State Railroad Museum collection? Please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Well done, thank you.
Great comments, thank you.
Yeah, great reminder. Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, seeing no other active participants, comments from the mayor.
I do have a couple things. I'd like to thank you for volunteering down at Union Station. Volunteers are the lifeblood of that, and we'll certainly keep that in consideration as we look at what we can potentially do in the future. I also want to thank you all for your careful consideration on some really tough issues. This budget cycle, I think, was unique, and everybody did a great job of really drilling into that and trying to understand everything, and I applaud your process and how open and transparent it was. So I think it's been very healthy and good dialogue, so I appreciate you guys doing that. I'd also like to add, I think we heard from a lot of residents last year that people really preferred slow incremental movement, not big gapping changes, big shocking changes like we've seen in a lot of other communities, and I think this is a very responsible way to approach it in the way that the citizens asked us to last time. And then I'd be remiss, he's not in here right now, but wanted to publicly express my gratitude to the community and for all of our departments that helped in and pitched out with the tragic loss of one of our own in Perry Huffaker. All the departments came together, and that was a real touching memorial for a very tragic moment, and want to publicly thank him for everything he did and how he represented Ogden City, and all departments that really pitched in to help make that as easy as can be in an impossible environment. So thank you very much.
Council members.
I want to echo what the mayor said about the budget. It is very important to us, and so that we can have the funds to provide the services, but I think fiscal sustainability and transparency is our main objective in developing a budget for our citizens. And Union Station is always important. It's the focal point of Ogden, and I support Union Station. I think it's a great facility down there, and we need to take care of that. And also, next year, I remind our council members that this is the time to go ahead and look at the construction of Lester Park. They're doing the construction of the library, the renovation there, and this is an opportune time for us to do that. And if I can be involved there, I'd be willing to do so. But I think this is a time to look at funds of developing a plan, or having funds to develop a plan that would design that park and moving forward. So.
Comments?
Chair White, I think it might be appropriate if we announce that next week there will be no regular meeting due to Election Day. That kind of means that we've got between now and next Tuesday to either mail our ballot in, or on Tuesday to drop it in a Dropbox or take it to a polling location. This is one of the things that I think is a civic duty that we all have to speak for who represents us, and it's been pretty pitiful in the past with our voting percentage. So just as a reminder, that we're in the last week, we're in the push for the primary. So get out and vote.
I'd echo that.
Chair White, I'd just make a comment. I think you've noticed I've been a little bit quiet tonight.
Feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. But you keep looking over to me.
I know, I'm like,
a comment. And
I know.
Come, so, I just want to say thank you to the administration for the work that everybody did to honor Perry and Sarah. That was a touching tribute. And I wasn't quiet tonight because I'm not engaged. I've been paying full attention, and I've asked a lot of questions along the way. But sometimes tragedies like that are important reminders as to what the most important things in our lives are. And I've been real introspective as a result, and I'm sure many of you have too. And I want to thank the administration for reminding me that not only of the wonderful life that was lost, but of the important role, small role that I play in here at the city. And in our form of government, you can call it what you want, council, mayor, separate but equal. But last week's events reminded me that we really are one Ogden, and that I feel very much a part of something very important, and that something very important lost somebody real important. And my condolences to you, to family, and I thank you for that tribute to someone that meant a great deal, not only to you, but to us as well.
That.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilmember Gardner, I'll give Councilmember Lopez the win on that one for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Well, if we've stuck around long enough, we're going to do the Redevelopment Agency meeting. Next. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council Redevelopment Agency meeting of August 8th, 2017. Please note that all board members are present. Next on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding any concerns or ideas on any topic.
Seeing no movement, Chair White, I make a motion that,
We don't have to do any of that.
we don't?
No.
Never mind.
Comments from the executive director,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
board members. Right. Next on our agenda is a closed executive session.
Chair White, I make a motion that we adjourn into a closed executive session.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Board Member Lopez to adjourn into the closed executive session. This is a roll call vote.
Member Nadolski,
Aye.
Board Member Stevens,
Aye.
Board Member Blair,
Aye.
Board Member Garner,
Aye.
Board Member Lopez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer,
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. We will be moving into our closed executive session, and we will adjourn from that meeting. Thank you.